The cameras flash, the crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
Right, and it started with a headline that basically broke the celebrity news cycle overnight. Just a YouTube video title that perfectly captured the shock value.
Yeah, the title was, She is Older Than His Mom, PROOF.
Which is just a crazy hook.
Totally. Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today's deep dive is, well, it's a wild one. We are unpacking that exact viral collision, the rumored romance between 21-year-old model Julez Smith and 41-year-old reality TV veteran Tommie Lee.
We were pulling from a massive stack of sources today, to figure out how this even happened.
Oh, absolutely. We've got raw transcripts of those Snapchat videos, reports from TMZ, international outlets like The Star, deep dives from Pop Rant and Distractify.
And some incredibly invested forensic-level Reddit threads.
Like FBI-level digging. And we aren't just here to redo a gossip column. We are using this bizarre club footage to explore the hyper-scrutiny of age gap relationships.
Right, and the towering, impenetrable walls of the music industry's most powerful dynasty.
Exactly. Plus, how one blurry late-night video can just unearth decades of very dark personal history. But wait till you hear what came next, because we need to start right at the epicenter of the drama.
The actual footage.
Yeah, because in the digital age, a 10-second clip isn't just a video. It's like a primary historical document. So picture this. You're in a dimly lit, crowded hookah lounge.
Okay, setting the scene.
The music is loud, the bass is vibrating through the floorboards, the air is thick with smoke and flashing lights, and suddenly, cutting through all of that chaos, you see a 41-year-old reality television star.
Who is completely barefoot, by the way.
Completely barefoot, getting a piggyback ride from a 21-year-old high-fashion model. Someone pulls out a phone, opens Snapchat, and hits record.
And the dialogue in these clips dictated the entire public reaction. Like, the young man laughs, joking to the camera, saying, it's a type of ST you do when you like somebody.
Right, and the woman leans in tight, wraps her arms around his neck, and whispers directly into his ear, calling him my baby.
And calling him so fine. To which Julez quips right back, it's hard to be fine when you got somebody on your back.
Which is, a pretty fair point.
Yeah, Tommie laughs and insists that he is still fine.
Yeah.
But in a fraction of a second, that little clip hits the internet via Tommie's own Snapchat story.
And then it was immediately amplified by major blogs like The Shade Room. But the second clip is what truly lit the match.
Oh, definitely.
They are sitting together watching a female contortionist perform. Julez looks over at Tommie and asks, "You can do that?"
And Tommie does not miss a single beat. She replies, "That looked good to you," before appearing to lean right in for a kiss.
She actually captioned the video, "Sure can and better," which is just, wow. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Because my instinct, looking at these sources, is that this is essentially the reality TV equivalent of day trading of volatile meme stock.
That's a great way to put it.
You pump up the value with a wild, suggestive stunt to get the entire internet talking, fully knowing the bubble might burst. So I have to ask you, are we looking at genuine romantic affection here, or is this a calculated performance for the cameras to generate buzz?
Well, what's fascinating here is the immediate aftermath, which really answers your question about her strategy.
Right.
We have to look at the mechanics of how a reality star operates.
Right.
In Tommie's world, like the Zeus Network, love and hip-hop controversy is literal currency.
Yeah.
The algorithm doesn't care if people are praising you or dragging you.
It only measures engagement.
Exactly. So initially, she day traded that stock exactly as you described. She leaned hard into the chaos.
She sure did. She went online and posted an AI-generated video of a dancing Chucky doll.
Yeah, with the caption, "When he's seen all my personalities and still said, yeah, that's the one."
I mean, she actively fanned the flames. She essentially told the internet, yes, he accepts my crazy.
But then something shifted.
Right, and here is where I get confused. If she's running the reality TV playbook to the letter and farming all this engagement, why did she suddenly walk it back?
Yeah, the sources show that just as the backlash hit a boiling point, her strategy totally pivoted.
She posted a denial on Instagram saying, "LOL, this was fun. Hate to break it to you, I'm not that type of girl. Why sabotage your own PR campaign?"
Because she miscalculated the variable, she totally underestimated the scale of the reaction. because she didn't fully grasp the gravity of who Julez Smith is connected to.
Oh, right.
A messy club video with a random 21-year-old influencer is just a Tuesday for a reality star.
Mm.
But Julez isn't a random influencer.
No, he is not. And before we get into exactly who his family is, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead in this deep dive.
Yes, definitely hit subscribe.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the core reason this Snapchat story escalated into a global headline.
It's the royal pop culture bloodline. Daniel Julez Smith Jr. is the only child of Solange Knowles and her ex-husband, Daniel Smith.
Which makes him the nephew of Beyonce.
The nephew of Beyonce. And this is where the math kicks in. And let me tell you, the internet is merciless when it comes to math.
Oh, they brought out the calculators immediately. Solange Knowles is 39 years old. Tommie Lee is 41.
Let that sink in. Tommie Lee is literally 2 years older than Julez's own mother.
She is 20 years older than Julez.
Ah.
As one FOMOI Reddit user coldly pointed out, Tommie was a legal adult, 18 years old the day Julez was born.
That is just a stark numerical reality that short-circuited the public's ability to just scroll past the video.
Right, and Julez isn't just a famous name. He is a kid who has lived his entire life in an intensely bright, highly invasive spotlight.
Yeah, the source material points out he was the face of a hip-hop-inspired toy line when he was just 3 years old. And he recently walked the runway at Paris Fashion Week. He has grown up with millions of strangers watching his every move.
And he recently did a live stream where he was incredibly candid about the psychological tax of that visibility.
Yeah, he confessed the hardest part of his life is dealing with public misconceptions.
That live stream is crucial context. He talked about how when he was just a 13-year-old kid, grown adults on the internet were spreading malicious rumors about his sexuality.
At 13, just because he was a pretty boy who modeled.
Imagine the cognitive dissonance of being a middle schooler and having the entire internet dissecting your identity before you even have a driver's license.
It's a brutal parasocial dynamic. Millions of people feel a sense of ownership over him because they watched him grow up in the background of Beyonce documentaries and Solange music videos.
Which sets up this incredible friction. You have Julez, who has suffered from internet rumors his whole life and belongs to the notoriously secretive Knowles family.
Right.
And you have Tommie Lee, whose entire career is built on airing every toxic detail of her life for a camera crew.
Yeah, so if we connect this to the bigger picture, we are watching two entirely different public relations models go to war.
Totally. The Knowles-Carter PR strategy operates like a nuclear submarine on silent running.
I love that analogy.
Right. When a crisis hits, they dive deep, cut the engines, and refuse to put out a single statement. They just starve the tabloids of oxygen.
But I have to challenge it a bit. Does the submarine strategy actually work in the TikTok era?
What do you mean?
Well, if the leak is coming from a reality star who lives on Snapchat and Instagram Live, the submarine is filling with water whether the Knowles family issues a press release or not.
That's a fair point.
The Reddit threads we look through were actively mocking this silence. Fans were anticipating a massive intervention.
Oh, the memes were out of control.
One user joked about the family's heavily encrypted group chat going off. Another wrote, "First, the gumbo, now this."
Referencing the infamous elevator incident lore.
Exactly. The public fully believes the Knowles family matrix is assembling a tactical team to extract him.
But see, the submarine strategy works because it forces the other party to look erratic. While Tommie was posting AI Chucky dolls and frantic public denials, Julez maintained that family tradition of tight-lipped privacy.
That's true. His only public response during this entire media cyclone was a single, cryptic Instagram story.
Just a photo of himself, captioned, just me and me only.
Just me and me only. It is a brilliant smokescreen.
It really is.
It could be a flat denial of the relationship. It could be him saying he's standing on his own as an adult, or it could mean absolutely nothing.
Keep them guessing, say nothing concrete, give the blogs zero direct quotes to aggregate.
But it forces the internet to fill in the blanks. And later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming, because that is exactly where the tone of this entire story takes a very sharp, very dark turn.
Yeah, because while Julez stayed quiet, the public's reaction shifted gears.
Ah.
The initial shock value was absolutely about the Beyonce connection and the 20-year age gap. But the reaction rapidly moved from people making lighthearted memes to expressing genuine, serious alarm.
The internet started doing what the internet does best. Open source intelligence gathering. They started digging.
And when digital communities like the FOMOI subreddit dug into Tommie Lee's background, the conversation stopped being funny.
It really did. The sources outline a deeply controversial, highly publicized criminal history. Tommie Lee has been arrested nearly 30 times.
30 times. And while many of those were for violating probation, it culminated in a massive indictment in 2019.
We need to lay out the mechanics of that 2019 indictment because it changes the entire context of that hookah lounge video.
According to TMZ and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, she faced 7 charges.
3 of them were felonies. This included child cruelty, battery, and aggravated assault.
The charges stemmed from an alleged attack on her own young daughter at a public middle school, where she allegedly dragged the child by her hair.
She faced over 50 years in prison before ultimately taking a plea deal to avoid jail time.
And to add even more context to the family dynamic, Complex reports that Tommie has 6 children.
6.
Her eldest child is estimated to be about 22 years old. That means Tommie has a child who is actually older than Julez.
Wow.
And this eldest child, reportedly, was born while Tommie was incarcerated. Furthermore, Tommie is also a grandmother to a 5-year-old.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, and I have to push back on the internet's reaction here.
Hey, let's hear it.
Normally, Hollywood treats massive age gaps as a collective eye roll. Like, Leonardo DiCaprio's dating history is basically a running geopolitical joke at this point, but nobody stages an intervention.
Right, the public just accepts that older celebrities date young models.
But in this specific case, the internet is acting as a vigilante shield. So I'm wondering, is this intense backlash purely because of the gender flip? Like, because society is uncomfortable with an older woman and a much younger man?
Or is it something else?
Yeah. Or is the algorithm actually processing her rap sheet as a literal threat metric?
It's the rap sheet. The FOMOI and Reddit threads prove this distinction.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the gender reversal certainly breaks societal norms, which grabs the initial attention. It acts as the hook. But the criminal history is the anchor dragging the whole narrative down.
That makes sense.
The comments quickly moved past the age gap itself. People were explicitly calling her a garbage human. They were using words like predatory.
Yeah, one user asked, why does she even have access to him? She's literally a walking red flag.
The public is treating Julez like he is genuinely in danger. They're looking at a 21-year-old who, despite his wealth and his fashion campaigns, is still biologically 21 and viewing him as highly vulnerable.
Especially when paired with a 41-year-old with a documented history of severe instability and violence against her own family.
Exactly. And this raises an important question about how we consume media. The power dynamic is what the internet is reacting to. A 21-year-old brain is still developing its risk assessment centers.
And reality TV trains audiences to view bad behavior as harmless entertainment.
Yes. We are conditioned to say, oh, look at Tommie throwing a drink. Look at Tommie being crazy again.
But when that behavior is suddenly contextualized by middle school police reports and felony child abuse charges, the entertainment value evaporates.
The fourth wall breaks. That's exactly what we saw happen in the comment sections in real time.
The internet realized they weren't watching a reality show spinoff. They were watching a potential crisis involving a real young man.
So what does this all mean when we pull it back to the present moment?
Well, a barefoot piggyback ride in a hookah lounge essentially forced a collision between 2 wildly different paradigms.
You have the highly guarded, elite, submarine silent echelon of music royalty represented by Julez and the Knowles family.
And you have the unfiltered, chaotic, controversy-driven realm of reality TV represented by Tommie Lee, where chaos is monetized.
And regardless of what the actual truth is, whether Tommie's denial of "I'm not that type of girl" is a genuine statement of fact, or just frantic damage control after realizing her PR strategy was actively backfiring in the internet, has already rendered its judgment.
It really has. And for you listening, I want you to think about how incredibly fast this digital ecosystem processes information. It is breathtaking.
Oh, absolutely. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because the speed of public judgment is just completely unmatched in human history.
In a matter of mere hours, we transitioned from watching a blurry 20-second club video on a phone screen to laughing at memes about an age gap.
To debating the psychological trauma of child stars.
And finally, to pulling up decade-old felony court records and acting as moral arbiters.
We operate in a hyper-accelerated cycle of consumption. We ingest the rumor, we crowdsource the background investigation, we pass our moral judgment, and then we sit back and wait for the algorithm to feed us the next video.
Which leaves me with a final provocative thought for you to mull over today. When a digital firestorm like this erupts out of nowhere, when millions of people rush to analyze a 20-year age gap, meme a legendary family's internal reaction, and dig up tragic criminal records, are we as a society genuinely concerned for the safety and well-being of the young man involved?
Or have we just become so completely numb to the internet that we treat real human lives, trauma, and complex family dynamics as our own personal interactive reality show?
As the smoke clears in that hookah lounge, it's worth asking if we are actually trying to protect someone or if we are just waiting for the next episode to air.
That's a really good question.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.